Um, I wanted to clarify something that I said in the last video that I made because I made that it was kind of raw. Um, and again, it's a feeling I've had for years and years and years, and I'm not the only one. And I really felt that it was um, sort of a similarly outrageous underground sort of feeling that people have had that I think a lot of people unfortunately could relate to with avoidant personality disorder. But I wanted to make the distinction. I was not talking about survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt is when you have actually narrowly avoided something and somebody else had some terrible thing befall them. Um, and that's not what I'm talking about. Um, this is, that's, um, I missed my flight, and so I wasn't able to be at this location I was supposed to be at. That's survivor's guilt. What I'm talking about is, again, I said it was not fair because that's what it feels like. It's like the distribution of people. There's a flaw there. That I'm trying not to repeat myself. Um, which for me, I do it all the time, but I'm you know, that's the issue. The issue is shouldn't have been somebody who had full mental health, and I don't even mean okay. That's really going to rip me. I don't mean that having a mental health issue automatically means okay. You should be number one in this cosmic list of who's going to go. But there are people who really wish they could and can't. And that's what I'm talking about. Is like, come on. I mean, if somebody is like waving their hand and volunteering, then they should go first, basically. Um, but that's not how the world works. And I don't think it's 100% only people with avoidant personality disorder that have these type of feelings. Um, but I definitely think it's something that could be a symptom and affiliated with avoidant personality disorder. I don't think everybody has it. There are different variations, but I think that's something that I would never be shocked if somebody with avoidant personality disorder came up with it, because it's a worthiness issue. It's a self-esteem issue. You think you're not worthy of life. You're not worthy of normal life experiences, so obviously you're not the one who's worthy of being alive too. Um, and so other people who are, by our own personal judgment, more worthy, makes no sense that they are the ones who are, cosmically chosen. That it just doesn't. It fries your brain. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that those type of tragedy things are going to happen to anybody. But I mean, everybody has to die somehow. But it doesn't make sense that somebody that would want so much to be alive gets randomly picked when there are people who would just be like, you need target practice on a live person, and that's going to get you taken down. You're either going to go in jail for the rest of your life or something. You're probably not going to be alive. Like, I mean, I understand, especially in that case. That case was a guy who, I mean, this is in a way, there's going to be a lot of people that watch my videos that are like, me too, I can relate, but, you know, sort of, to the circumstances. He was just fired from his job at a recycling center, which, hey, that's a job that needs to be done. It's actually a good job. It's helping the environment. But, especially guys, I'm sorry, but especially guys have been taught that they are supposed to have and are like destined to have, some fancy job, like whatever. And he also just broke up with his girlfriend. I mean, this is a terrible thing. I mean, but his reaction, instead of being sad or trying to improve his life, was to literally go hunt her, his ex-girlfriend. She was supposed to be, had signed up to be at a tournament at, I think it was the bowling alley. And he went to hunt her. She wasn't there, so he said, okay, fine, I'm going to get all these other people. She wasn't there, so he went to the second place where he thought she was most likely to be other than her house. For the same reason. Stupid. So that wasn't actually completely random. It wouldn't, if it wasn't somebody that was just like, I just want to shoot somebody. In which case, raising your hand and saying, I'm the one, taking me out instead of a child, wouldn't have done much good, because he was hunting a specific person that he did not find in that one case. Hurricane just hit Acapulco, and I think it was 27 people drowned. They knew a storm was coming. They didn't know it was going to be like that. That's not survivor's guilt. I did not know any of the people. I mean, it was fairly close to my house. It's about half an hour away, but I didn't know anybody. In Mexico, I'd never been to Mexico. I didn't know anybody. I wasn't supposed to be in either of those locations. It's not survivor guilt. And if somebody is just like, oh, well, that's what you've got, and they're sort of dismissive about it, no, it is something different. So, I'm backing you up. If you need to hear that you're going through something, especially if it hits about everything. And again, I'm in a pretty good place. And yet, it's like an automatic thought. Oh man, should have been me. Not because of survivor guilt, but just because, hey, come on, better me than, like I said, children or something. But it's not survivor guilt. It is a worthiness thing. It is part of avoidant personality disorder for me. Hopefully you don't have that part of it, that you think, I have no right to be alive, basically. Yeah. So another bummer video, sorry, but again, I just wanted to clarify two different things. One is specific to a life that you're having, that you were lucky enough not to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, but you could have been. That's survivor guilt. But if it hits you about almost everything, and again, I've been thinking that I should make this video for years, but I'm like, or the other video for years, but I'm like, it's depressing and awful. But, you know, my channel's good for depressing and awful. My channel's good for letting you know that you've got some weird, terrible thing that nobody would ever want to talk about or nobody would ever want to admit feeling. You're not the only one if you're doing that. And, you know, once you know that whatever, thought that you're having is a recurring, bizarro thought, it's part of DBT, that you can look at it and say, okay, that's a thought. Is this really based in reality or what? No, we actually don't have the choice to put up our hands and volunteer in the place of somebody who would have been murdered or, whatever. We don't, that's reality. It would be interesting if we could, but we can't. So you might have that thought. There is no way to enact that in reality, and let it go. That's how DBT is. That's, in a nutshell, that's it. That's one of the key parts of it. I think I talked about it before. That if you have some intrusive thought come in, you don't dwell on it, you acknowledge it, you sort of honor it. Yes, it is sad that these people died, and conceivably it would maybe be less sad if you know what, you wouldn't know. If I had been one of these people, which there's no way I could have been, never been to any of those places. I mean, I've been to Lewiston, but I've not been to the places where the thing happened. Who knows? I mean, I still probably get my picture plastered everywhere, and they'd try to interview people who knew me. They'd have to try to find something nice to say about me. That might be tough. On all counts, but yeah. So if you have those thoughts, don't beat yourself up for them. Let them go. Because the reality is, you weren't there. You can't take their place. And worthiness has absolutely nothing to do with random terrible things that happen in the world. And if somebody says, especially like a therapist or something, oh, you've got survivor's guilt. No, it's not survivor's guilt. It is something different. And if it's really bothering you and it's coming up like on a daily basis because the world is a terrible place, and there's only news is bad news. If it bleeds, it leads. And if it's really affecting you, talk to a therapist. Hopefully you've got one. Maybe that could be the thing that you use to start therapy, is to talk about this with a therapist and let them know that it is different from survivor's guilt. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Bye.